Good evening, good evening, good evening. How is everyone on this wonderful Wednesday evening? Hope everyone is having a wonderful time as we are less than 24 hours away from the HSB exam paper 2 for this May 2025. And we are all joining in. Thanks for joining up. I'm seeing persons coming in. Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming. This is a preparation session for paper 2, Human and Social Biology. You may know it as, also known as HSB. Yeah, HSB. I am your favorite principal, Travis Roach, to take you through this session. And we'll get started in a couple moments, just waiting for others to join up. Once everyone joins up, that will be wonderful. That will be wonderful. Yeah. All right. So I'm seeing persons. Good evening to all of you. Evening on to all of you. We're here. Sign up for the crash course, but the class was full. Yes, the class was full most of the time. Yeah, the class was full most of the time, but we did have a wonderful time. I did try to do what persons wanted to do. The only thing I missed out on was the graph session. Didn't get to do that. Time ran out on us. You would think 4 hours is plenty, but it is apparently less than you think. Yeah, it's apparently less than you think. So that time went by super fast. So we weren't able to get to it, but hopefully, well, I should say tonight we will get to go into hopefully a graph. Yeah, we get to go into the graph. So we will be using 2025 January paper. We'll be using 2025 January paper. Yeah, that should take us through. Yeah, what you all saying? And you do let us know. I always wonder which territory persons are in when you're in my individual in my classes. I always ask where persons are viewing from, where persons are, where they are doing the exams. Do let us know where you are actually doing the exam. Yeah. Let us know where you're doing the exam, which territory. We have students from St. Vincent, Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago. Where are you? I'm seeing some persons from Jamaica. Right, some from Guyana. Nice, thanks for joining. Trinidad. Yes. So let us know. Yeah. Let us know. Let us know. All right. So yeah, we want to get started here to see where person from. All right. So let's get this thing started. So person should be seeing my screen. Jamaica, somebody's from Tobago as well. Nice, thanks. So I'm getting St. Vincent, St. Martin, wonderful. Thanks for joining up. Thanks for joining up indeed. Okay, so let's get things going. All right. So we want to use the January 2025 paper and for this session. But I always like to take persons through from the syllabus first, because this is the latest syllabus. This is the syllabus that you are preparing. And this exam started in June 2022. So we had 2022, 2023, 2024, 2025 is the one for tomorrow. And I want to encourage persons to be on time for their exams. Yeah. The exams is about 1 p.m. AST. So do be on time. All right. It's an afternoon exam. So you know you have the morning session, refresh yourself, get up in a timely fashion, take your time, make your way down to your designated exam center, and you will have a wonderful time. You will have a wonderful time doing this exam. So let us look and see what this syllabus. So this is the fourth rounds, 2022, 2023, 2024, and 2025 will be the fourth time they are having this exam for January. All right. And you know, it's 3 papers, paper 1, paper 2, which is tomorrow, the 8th of May, and paper 3, whether you have 3-1, that's the SBA, or you do the alternative paper 3-2. You know, you are getting tested on these 5 sections here, A to E. And they test various parts. Life processes is usually your biggest section. Section A, section B, life processes. Usually two questions come from section B and 1 from all the other sections. All right. You are expected to get a graph, right? There will be some kind of graphical work in it. So do expect to do a graph. So it means for your writing utensils, you need to have a ruler. You need to have an eraser, have a sharpener, maybe a pencil might break. You need to have a pen, obviously, because you have the whole paper to write. So you have to write in pen. Yeah, you do know those things, right? And the examiners will allow you to walk in with them. So you should make sure you have them. Yeah, have a ruler. Even if it is the little, what it is, like a 12 or 15 centimeter ruler, or the 30 centimeter ruler, even better. Make sure you have a ruler. All right. So let's get into it. I'm already told persons that we wanted to use the January 2025. There's paper 3. No, there's only one we want to look at. We want to look at paper 2. Right? That's the one we want to look at, paper 2. So just give me a moment. I have to see if I have that paper. Do I have that paper? And wonderful. Yes, I do have that paper. So it starts off its usual format, telling you you have 6 questions and you have to do all. So if we divide the time equally, let's pretend the questions are equally sized and everything. It means you have 20 minutes a question. Each question is worth 15 marks, so the whole paper is 90 marks. You will bust that up, right? You will bust that up, especially those who have been going through with me. You all will be prepared for it. You busting up that. When you see the questions, you all will smile. You will smile and say, yeah, boy, this is where we get in the one. Sir was right. This is all for the one. So let's start, right? So we won't take 2 hours. Hopefully we will be going faster than that. But 20 minutes a question. If you're spending more time than the 20 minutes, you should move on. Move on. And once you finish the paper, you come back to the question you left out. All right? That's how it works. Don't spend the time up front. Spend the time at the end. Don't spend it up front. So question 1 starts off by asking you, what is a balanced diet? What is a balanced diet? And this is a familiar question, and one that you don't necessarily need it to have studied human and social biology to be able to answer. Many persons would be able to answer this, or just being able to answer it, right? What's a balanced diet? Let me do some writing here. I am going to look at the comments and everything, but you need a diet with correct proportions. Why am I saying the correct proportions? Because a balanced diet changes depending on your activity. But the definition doesn't tell you what activity the person is doing. So if you're an athlete, you do more. If you're a construction worker, you do more, right? Than someone who is living a sedentary life, where you just sit down whole day and do nothing. So you want the correct proportions of the food or the nutrients. All right. So 2 marks for that question. That's an easy 2 marks to get. Identify the components of a balanced diet that cannot be digested. That instantly coming to fiber. Right? Fiber, you might know it as roughage. Yeah. You might know it as roughage as well. Either word will get you the marks. Anorexia and bulimia are 2 common eating disorders. State one similarity and one difference between anorexia and bulimia. So a similarity, you could always use the outcome, right? The person ends up skinny because they're not getting nutrients, right? The difference is how it leads to the malnourishment. Anorexia is where you refuse to eat the food. Bulimia, you consume the food, but you don't digest the food. Yeah? So we could say that, right? One stops you from consuming, and the other one allows you to consume, but you expel. You kick it out. You vomit it up. You do something to get rid of it after having eaten it. All right? So the similarity is the both leads to you being skinny. Let me write this differently. The outcome is the same with both, right? You are thinking you want to be skinny, and the outcome I'm talking about is skinny. Or you think you're too fat, so you need to get skinnier. All right? And wants to be skinnier, right? So both lead to malnourishment. Easy maths. And this nutritional facts kind of listing should seem familiar to all of you. You all in exams, your brain uses plenty carbohydrates when you're studying, when you're using it plenty. So I hope persons are eating correct amounts, they are eating all their meals. You might be taking supplements. Well, you should be taking supplements to make sure you get in the right amount of vitamins, minerals. Ever so often there are different colds and things going around. Take your vitamin C, whether you're getting it through citrus, Caribbean cherry, whatever, the fruits or vegetable. But take it as a hand. This is a good time to have a balanced diet. Yeah. So we have two nutritional facts. One is the serving size is 116 grams. And the next one, it's 43 grams. You compare them out and they ask, suggest which of the two snacks, A and B, is a healthier option. And you compare them and see what they have. The total fat here is 1%, saturated fat 1%. On snack B, the total fat is, was this 18? Yeah, 18%. Saturated fat is 40%. Wow, that's a marked difference. Total carbohydrates 16, dietary fiber 0, dietary fiber on this one. So we obviously see in that side A is a better outcome by far, right? I guess the competition really easy. So 1 mark for that. They just gave us 1 mark for no reasons. State 4 reasons to justify your answer. The same things I said there. This total fat, saturated fat on this side is way lower than the 18% and 40% respectively. The dietary fiber and carbohydrates are way higher at 13 and 13% compared to the total carbohydrates at 9% and the dietary fiber at 0%. You could even throw in other things, right? Like calcium. This one has calcium. This other one, snack B, has no calcium. So you look through the things and you pick out the 4 that you want. They ask you for 4. So you look through and you pick out the 4 that you want. All right. So that's easy. Plus, this is on nearly every packet of food we consume, right? From your biscuits to your chocolates to the bottled water to your juices. So persons should be very familiar with it. Yes, you could have mentioned the calories. You could have compared the portion sizes because this one is 116 grams as opposed to the other one that is 43 grams and producing a 230 calories. That's plenty, yeah? For 43 grams, that's plenty. So yes, that person, Cool X97, yes, you could have used the calories as a comparison as well. In the Caribbean, it is recommended that individuals consume a diet consisting of foods from each of the 6 Caribbean food groups. Recommend 2 Caribbean food groups from which a laborer should consume high amounts in order to ensure good health. This is a laborer. A laborer is one who's doing physical work. They're using their body to do the work. So what food groups would you want a laborer to use? Remember, they are using their body. So every day you want some kind of repair for their body, for muscle tissue, etc. And you want them to have energy to do the work, right? So you want carbohydrates and proteins. And I am seeing someone, Angel, had already told us that it's carbohydrates and proteins is the answer. So yes, you are correct. All right. Yes, so let's continue on. So far, so good. Everyone is moving along nicely. This is turned out to be a fun paper, a nice relaxed paper. State one reason for each recommendation made in C. Well, ooh, I accidentally gave away the answers already, right? So just to reiterate them, carbohydrates for the energy and the proteins to repair, because remember the person is doing physical work. So muscle tissue is broken down, it's damaged, and you want it to be repaired daily. All right, 15 marks. That's a nice 15 marks to get. Nothing that taxed our brain. All right, so let's move on to question 2. I want to remind persons to subscribe to the channel. Yeah, let's subscribe to the channel, hit that subscription button, and hopefully tomorrow after the paper we will do a review of the May-June 2025 paper. That's the paper you would do. Come back in the night, hopefully, and we will do that paper. Hopefully I would see the paper. I do see the paper because we have students doing the exams as well. So I do go and ask to see the paper and then try to get a copy. Persons also send me copies. If you get a copy before me, you could always send it to us. Just use the information, whether it's Facebook or Instagram. You could always use the information there and send it to us. Send it via email as well. All right, you could always send it to us if you get a paper. And we will have a live session to review it at around 9-ish. So do come back. So subscribe and click the notification bell so that you will make sure and be notified once we start that session. Question 2, excretion and elimination. And I always tell students about this question. The CXC rare like this. This is like CXC's most favorite thing. You see that? Excretion, elimination, excretion, egestion. That question, they rare like that. Rare like that. All right? And they ask you to state the difference. And it's kind of excretion is the removal of metabolic waste from the body. That's literally what excretion is. So just write the definition, you will get the marks. Elimination is the removal of a substance that is not wanted. So it could be any substance. Once you remove it, it is eliminated. Right? So all you have to do is say that and you will get it. I could give you some examples as well. All right. So we could have like examples like feces, water, all of that can be eliminated from the body. So that falls under elimination. Excretion, the removal of metabolic waste. I could put examples for that as well. Urine. That will be your exam. That's a very good example of excretion. We have urine, we have stale air, etc. All right. Yes, and Pebble is saying we have skin doing sweat, we have stale air and carbon dioxide from the lungs. Yes, Pebble, that is correct, right? If they didn't ask you for examples, but I know you just adding to what I have said, and that would be great to go with excretion. Other than the kidney, name 2 excretory organs in the body and state 1 excretory product from each named organ. Ooh, and well, Pebble done give us the answer, so I am just going to write over her answer. So many comments came in, so I will just use Pebble answer, skin, and she said sweat. And the next organ she used was the lungs. And she said carbon dioxide. All right, so I took Pebble answer there, and it was correct, so very easy to get marks. Plus, many other persons were correct. I see Codrington telling us a bile from the liver. That is also correct. All right. So let's go on. We are looking at nephron here. The whole thing is the nephron, and it ends in the collecting duct. You know, we looked at this in the crash course today. This is the Bowman's capsule. This is the glomerulus around it. Stuff flow into the glomerulus. All right, stuff flows into the glomerulus. You have the loop of Henle. This area here is the second convoluted tubule. This area here is the first convoluted tubule, right? And this is the collecting duct. So list in the correct order the 4 structures after the Bowman's capsule through which the filtrate will pass as urine is being formed. And I just said it. I didn't even know I was answering the question, right? They just ask you to list it in the correct order after the Bowman's capsule. So that this is the Bowman's capsule here. So after that, and they're asking you for four things. So you could say first convoluted tubule. You could say the loop. The loop of Henle. You could say the second and then we have the collecting duct. That's it, right? That is it. That's what you wanted to say. And I would get you your answers. And I know someone is asking how these drawings will come. You're not going to get a drawing. Yeah? They're not going to ask you, hey, draw the nephron. No, they're not going to ask you to draw the skin or to draw the eye. No, they're not going to say, this is how a drawing question comes. They might just ask you to list some parts of it. And this is very easy. All right. So it will be great if a kidney, if a kidney question comes like this, but this is not going to come back again. Eh? But it would be great if a kidney question comes. Yeah, Prince? If a kidney question come like this, you will be smiling, you know. Right? If the heart come, you would like the heart too. Eh? If the heart comes, you would like the heart. Yeah, if you do it the way I showed in the crash course, you would like it. All right, so table 1 shows the concentration of 3 substances found in the filtrate of urine of a healthy individual. So the person is healthy. Explain why glucose is found in the filtrate but not in the urine. I'm sure someone who was in the class, the session earlier, the crash course would be saying, oh, I know. Yes, you do know. It is because glucose is selectively reabsorbed, yeah, from the filtrate back into the blood. All right, it is selectively reabsorbed. Where is it reabsorbed? First proximal convoluted tubule. First proximal convoluted tubule. All right, so all you have to do is say that. All right, so that's why it is not found. Remember, this person is healthy. If it is not reabsorbed, then you know that person has problems, possibly diabetes, possibly could be some kidney problems, but that person has problems. So yes, David, it is reabsorbed. All right. Explain why protein is found in neither the filtrate nor the urine. Notice they said protein and not amino acids, right? Protein is the full chain. Proteins are too big. They're just too big. That's the simple answer. They're just too big to be filtered out of the glomerulus, right? The molecule is too big. Think about proteins. Proteins are immunoglobulins, your immune cells. Proteins are cells. Proteins are hormones, right? All those things are just, it's just too big. to be filtered out, right? So it's not filtered out of the glomerulus. That's the simple answer. 2 marks. You could go on to tell them why it's not filtered out, because it's too big, it don't have enough pressure to squeeze out a protein. If it does squeeze out a protein, it means it's damaging the nephron, etc. So it is just not possible for a healthy individual. And that's our 15 marks. Right? Welch, don't worry, the paper would come better than you think. Right? The paper would come better than you think. State 2 ways in which genetic variation occurs in living organisms. And I'm hearing it. I'm hearing someone screaming, crossing over and random assortment. Right? I'm hearing someone screaming it for this question. So, complete the following paragraph by inserting the correct word from the list of words provided below. So we have a passage with some blanks. The process where organisms with blank traits are more likely to reproduce is called blank. These traits are passed to the next blank. Over time, this process allows organisms to blank to their environment. And we want to insert those words. And the passage should make natural English sense, right? When you're reading it, it should make natural sense. So the process where organisms with favorable traits are more likely to reproduce is called natural selection. So it should make sense. Let me start to write. Right. These traits are passed on to the next generation. Right. Over time, this process allows organisms to adapt to their environment. Yeah. A good way to do this, all you have to do is, as you're writing and thing, cross out the word you use. Cross out the next word, cross out the next word, so you don't accidentally use over the same word. Do you imagine if you had the same word for all? The process where organisms with disadvantageous traits are more likely to produce is called disadvantageous. These traits are passed to the next disadvantageous. Over time, this process allows organisms to disadvantageous to their environment. That's not even making sense, right? Welch, this is January 2025 paper, right? This is the paper we are doing. So we have a figure, and it has 5 children in it, and they have different characteristics. Identify 2 examples of continuous variation that can be observed with figure 4. So they just want things that you could see. I always encourage candidates to pick the easy answer. Yes, there are things that you may have to look more intensely to find, but please just pick the easiest answer. Yeah? Somebody is saying height, weight. Well, I don't think you could see the weight of the children. Do you mean to say size? I don't think you could see the weight of the children, huh? But yes, you could kind of see height. Well, we hope they don't look like they're all standing up. But right. So pick the easy thing, skin color. Right? They ask for continuous variation. So if you put earlobe, you will not get it right. Right? Earlobe does not fall for continuous. Right? So you could use skin color. I have an assortment that you could use that you could see. straight off the bat, right? So you could use any of these. They only ask for two. Pick the two easiest ones, right? Pick the two easiest ones. Identify the example of discontinuous variation in figure 4. This is where you could say earlobe, whether it's attached or detached. And obviously, the most obvious one is their sex, right? It only have two sex, whether they could be a boy or they could be a girl. That's a discontinuous. The earlobe, that is also discontinuous. The drawing is in black and white, so we cannot put eye color, right? Except if your drawing was your drawing is in color, but this is not in color, right? So you can't put eye color. All right? You can't. Your examiner would have had to be in a good mood to give you eye color because everybody's eyes looking the same color because the drawing in black and white. All right, so the table below shows two scenarios. For each scenario in the table, use a tick to show whether antibiotics should be used. Give one reason for each answer. Ravi contracted influenza at school. Mitch has been diagnosed with syphilis. What are we thinking? Is influenza, can you use antibiotics to treat influenza? I hope persons are thinking no. Where do I get the quick the check mark? I hope persons are thinking no for influenza because influenza is caused by a virus. So you are saying no for influenza. So you put in a tick to show that. And well, I just tell you the reason, right? And for syphilis, does anyone know what causes syphilis? Is it a bacteria? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yeah. Palladium is the bacteria that causes syphilis. So let's switch over. Let me just write in the reason. Right? So this is caused by a virus, right? It's not a bacteria. And this one is caused by a bacteria, right? Palladium is a bacteria. Explain why the misuse of antibiotics is dangerous. This is easy because it leads to antibiotic resistant bacteria. That's the danger, right? Nadia, right. So just watching comments in the chat. Yes, Nadia, you are correct. All right. So dangerous practice, the misuse of antibiotics. Yes, it can lead to antibiotic resistant bacteria. All right. So that's pretty easy. That's a nice 2 marks for us. Yeah. So that is the result of it. Because if these bacteria become resistant to the antibiotics, then you have nothing to fight them with, right? Your antibiotics will no longer be killing the bacteria. So it means what? You could just suffer with the sickness. You could just suffer with the bacterial infection. No, we don't want that, right? So we would use our antibiotics properly. So 15 marks, another 15 marks. You're praying for a repetitive question from them past papers. You in for, you will be happy when you see the paper. All right. Question 4. This gives us equation. And someone asked about this equation in the cram session. You have to know it. There is no two ways about this. You have to know it. You have to know the chemical equation, which is this, what is shown here, and you have to know the word equation. You have to know both of them. right? It's the same equation. And when you learn this equation in both directions, because this one here is for photosynthesis, you have to learn it in the opposite direction for respiration. All right. State the function of the process represented by the equation above. This is how plants produce their own food. Plants are autotrophic, so they produce their own food. Yeah. This is what autotrophs do. They produce their own food. Identify the cell organelle in which this process, this is real giveaway marks, boy. This is some giveaway marks. This cell organelle, if this question comes, you all will be really happy. Plus, when everything for 1 mark, it means it is become plenty. Yeah, it'll be plenty questions. All right, so yeah, the cell organelle is obviously the chloroplast. The chloroplast contains the pigment that is known as chlorophyll. Right? So they just ask question after question after question. And I have explained this before, that when you are doing questions, note if you ever pay attention to the numbering tells you something. When you're using Roman numerals, the question has continuation. It's on a continuum. So each one will be related to the same vein of thought. When you're using the alphabet, right, it means there is a shift in the thinking. All right, so you see how this question, this Roman numeral, and you will see that throughout every past paper, every question throughout all of CXC. Many students may overlook this, but the numbering tells you something. So each one layers upon the other. And then when the letter changes, so this is one vein of thought, but the letter will change. When B comes, you will see B is asking something off, right? It's changing. It's no longer in this vein of thought, right? And it's so far, no matter the subject, economics, POA, biology, chemistry, mathematics, it's the same straight through. All right? Somebody again is asking which past paper is this? Hunter. This is the January 2025 paper. All right, so state the name of each of the products shown in the equation above. Glucose and oxygen. All right, so we get those marks right there. And we go on to B, explain how each of the products shown in the equation and page is critical to the survival of the organism. Notice before they were just asking straight up one-word questions and everything. And now the vein of thought is going to explain, which now means you have to put some thought in. Look, they give you what? 8 lines to write out your explanation, right? How the products is used is critical for the survival of other organisms. The same, the products, right? Glucose and oxygen. What is glucose used for? Glucose is the material for respiration. Glucose is needed for respiration for animals, right? And oxygen is one of the things that they use to burn the glucose to create the ATP, right? So it's very important. Oxygen is needed for aerobic respiration. Respiration is the release of energy from glucose. So you could explain this out in how many ever words you want. I could do it very shortly, but 4 marks nevertheless. Yeah. Right, so 4 marks. Let's continue on. Oh, we got a nice little plant here. An agricultural engineer is developing 2 different varieties of sweet potato, A and B, as shown in the figures 5 and 6. Right? So take your time, look at the Look at the figure 5, variety A, and look at variety B, which is figure 6. Notice it has variegated leaves on figure 6. Explain why A and B, which variety it is. A and B is likely to produce a greater yield of sweet potato. What you all thinking? Which one will produce more? Oh, and everyone is already jumping out with the answer. So the answer is A. Yeah? Why are we choosing A? Because it has non-variegated leaves. So the whole leaf could do photosynthesis. On this side, that variegated part where we are assuming the color is not green, right? That variegated part means the plant is less efficient. The plant is less efficient. All right. So all we have to do is say that. All right. So more photosynthesis can be done through the leaves for the non-variegated. Remember, we choose A. And therefore, if more photosynthesis is done, more starch is stored, which means greater sizes, greater yield of sweet potato. Yeah. Somebody said fully green. I like that, Miller. The leaves fully green. I like that. So 4 marks. Suggest the test the engineer would have to conduct to confirm the major food group found in the sweet potato. I don't feel this engineer went to school. You know, we already know if it's sweet potato, that is starch. Why you need to confirm it? Nevertheless, the test is the starch test. You might know it as the iodine test. You might know it as the starch iodine test. The point is the starch test. He wants a test to confirm starch. But we already know that. That's like a fact. No idea why he still need to test it. All right, but we just answer any question, and that gives us another 15 marks. Yeah. So we well on our way. We are now going into section B. We have already gotten 60 marks. We just have 30 more marks to get 2 more questions to answer. We're on section B now. During the rainy season, and the Caribbean only have 2 seasons, it's either rain or hot sun. Governments are very concerned about the spread of vector-borne diseases. Define the term vector. I too, David, I want everyone to pass, not just with a pass, but with a 1. Eh? Yeah, David, I want everyone, including you, to get a 1. That's why we come here on these nights to just try to reinforce the knowledge you already know. All right, so define the term vector, the organism which transport the pathogen but is not itself harmed, right? So that is a vector. Yeah. Name one mosquito-borne disease that is common in the Caribbean. There are so many. You just choose one and roll with it. Choose one and roll with it. Whether you choose Zika, chikungunya, I'm choosing dengue fever, just roll with it. Describe how the name disease in B1 is transmitted. Well, I choose dengue, right? So dengue is transported by the Aedes mosquito, right? Is transported by the Aedes mosquito. So a bite from an infected Aedes mosquito will give you dengue, meaning the mosquito, when we say infected mosquito, the mosquito has the pathogen. Yeah? The mosquito has the pathogen and it will pass it on to you. State one sign or symptom of your disease. Yes, you could have choose malaria. Somebody's asking that. Chikungunya. That is not how you spell chikungunya. right, Miller? So just be careful with that. But yes, you could have choose chikungunya, you could have choose Zika, right? And don't put the necessary symptom, whether it's chills, it's pain, it's fever, you choose something. I choose joint pain, whether you get a rash, do choose something. I don't know which one you all will choose. I'm reading things. Some is saying joint pain, some saying headaches. Yes, yes, yes. Right? Yes. Compare and contrast the life cycle of a mosquito with that of a housefly. Yeah, and they kind of are very similar because they are insects, obviously. The mosquito is adult eggs, larva, pupa, and back to adult. And the housefly, the only difference is the larva stage is broken up into steps. So the housefly has insta steps for the larva stage. So we have first insta, second insta, and third insta, and then go to the pupa and the adult. Basically, the insta is the different sizes of the larva, right? The larva grows into three stages. That's what they're telling you from the housefly. And we have all seen that, right? We have seen these little maggots on the garbage. Those are the larvae of the housefly, right? So that's very easy. If you just explain this, you could answer this with a drawing, but no one wants to draw so much. But if you want just draw the arrow and put the words, that's fine. But don't waste your time trying to draw the literal fly and the literal mosquito to compare. And they're not asking about the size and thing, right? They're asking about the life cycle. Don't tell us which one heavier and say the house fly more annoying than the mosquito. I would tell you, I beg to differ. The mosquito is more annoying than the house fly. Yeah? A mosquito singing in the air with a high-pitched song at night. It is keep you up. You just become arch enemies, right? That's how annoying the mosquito is. Anyway, back to the question. Recommend 4 ways in which communities and governments can reduce the transmission of diseases by mosquitoes and houseflies. Yeah. 4 ways. Education, you want to let the citizens, the residents know the necessary steps to take. You don't want people accidentally breeding mosquitoes and houseflies. You should educate them, whether it's formal education like in a school, or you put up social media campaigns, you're advertising on TV, you're having talks in the community. All of that becomes part of education. You could have spray cycles by authorities. You could have whether it's vector control, whether it's health and disease, whether whoever could come and spray. They have designated spray cycles that they could come, especially mosquitoes. Mosquitoes is rare when rainy season come in. Yeah. So prepare people for the rainy season. Clean up campaigns, remove breeding sites. That is good for houseflies as well. Yeah. And then we have preventative devices, traps, screens, put fly screens or fly nets on your windows to keep things out, right? Rainy season also means mango season and everything. Flies come with mangoes. Yeah. So you have plenty space to give your recommendations. Right? You say the fog machine, but don't just say fog machine, right? The fog machine has to have insecticide in it, right? That's what they use to spray the fog machine. So 15 more marks. We on 75 marks and counting. So we could go on to the next question, which talks to us about the water cycle. Water cycle is such a familiar cycle. It is the most popular cycle in the world, the water cycle. All right, so we look at the water cycle, we see what's going on. They ask you to identify any three of the labeled processes in figure 7. So what are we thinking? What are we thinking? We want to identify all because we're just preparing. All right. So we have A, evaporation, B, transpiration, C, respiration, that's meaning the cows are breathing. D, precipitation, we see that rain, it have some lightning, so this is probably a thunderstorm coming down here. We have D, the water is running down the hilltop or the mountain and percolating through the soil. So an easy way for us to get 3 marks. They only ask for 3. You could pick any 3 of the 5, give your answer. If you give all 5, you still only get 3 marks. All you would have done is probably wasted some time. But nothing is wrong with that. If you choose to do that, that's okay. List 3 ways in which water can be purified at home. I feel like this question they're trying to give with the marks. Right? They're trying to give with the marks. We could boil some water, we could chlorinate water, we could filter, we could distill water. Yeah, the distillation might be a little more than you expect, but plenty persons have the ability to distill water at home. Yeah, so that is nothing. Did someone say pray over it? No, 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 no. That is not, that's for holy water. That is not for purifying the water. All right, so you wouldn't get pray over it as a mark. Figure 8 and 9, we're looking at some graphs. Source of pollutants at location X, the source of pollutants at location Y. Suggested types of land use that is occurring at location X and location Y. We have this 60% here is fertilizer. And we have the largest thing here being, what's this dot? Sewage, right? So the fertilizer, that goes hand in hand with agriculture or farming, particularly plant farming. And then the sewage usually comes from industries, housing developments, etc. So we are going with some kind of urbanization happening there. So urbanization, if you were writing industrialization, all of that, you would have gotten it correct. All right, all right. So 2 marks there. Let me get these 4 marks now. Explain 2 social or economic effects that can occur if the pollutants from location X and Y would enter the waterways. The pollutants from X and Y. So the major pollutant is the fertilizer, and the major pollutant here is the sewage. That leads to such a big algal bloom. That leads to such a big algal bloom that will do such a big impact on the waterways, whether the waterways have budding wildlife, it might be an ecotourism. It will do so much damage. All right, that will do so much damage. right? You would lose recreation. Plenty persons like to go to rivers and beaches and waterways, right? That will damage the economy as well, because who's going to pay to clean this up? Who is really going to pay to clean this up? It will be the government. And when we say government, we mean your tax money, right? Your taxes is what we use to clean up the rivers. And the final 3 marks for this paper recommend 3 strategies that could be employed to reduce the pollutants from location X and Y. Yeah? From environmental authorities to laws and policies, you could have any of that in play, right? You want testing and sampling of the waterways. You really don't want your waterways polluted. That damages, and it sometimes the air is smelling. It makes the place uncomfortable. Yeah. So educate the residents, try to show them a different way. You could put the necessary infrastructure into place, like sewage treatment plants, etc., for location Y that have the sewage being the thing. You should have sewage treatment plants and everything in the area. Yeah. So that is our final answer for the last 3 marks of our 90 marks. And that brings us to the end of this January 2025 paper for human and social biology. Yeah, let me just look in the chat and see if anyone is saying anything. Yes, you got this. Yes, yes, it's looking easy. Proper waste disposal. Yes, that's correct. That's correct, right? No, you're not cooked. Yes, the exam is at 1 p.m. EST time, right? Atlantic Standard Time. It's 1 p.m. That is 12 o'clock Jamaica. Many of the other territories, that's 1 o'clock Trinidad, 1 o'clock Barbados. So make sure you are on time. Make sure you are on time for this exam. Okay. So I hope that helped you. I hope persons are feeling confident in their preparation. If anyone gets the paper, you could send it to me. Let me get a look at it as well if you get it before me, so that we could have a session tomorrow night where we reveal answers that you could have put, and then we move on to preparation for paper 1 and paper 3, as well as other subject areas. Yeah. So for now, I am once again very glad to have supported all of you through this session, and even yesterday, and was so glad to see so many persons turned out for the crash course that was intended just to support and encourage you. But good luck in your exam. Good luck. Do get a good night's sleep. Make sure you have all your utensils, your pen, your pencil, your ruler, calculator. Yes, yes, yes. You all will do wonderful. And do come back tomorrow, and let us know how you did, how you fared, right? And let us know, because we are all doing this for the one. Yeah, for the one. So I am your favorite principal, Travis Roach, wishing you all the best in your exam. Have a good night, everyone.